What's up guys, so in today's video I'm going to talk about how to improve your gimbal. Alright, so today I'm going to be using my Ronin-M. There's two types of gimbals you can use. Today I'm going to be using a dual grip type. There's also the single grip type, such as the Ronin-S. And I'm going to be demonstrating on this GTO. So I have I'm using the grip from DJI instead of the regular grip that comes with this gimbal. And I added these feet stands. Makes life a lot easier. You can just it's a grip and a stand at the same time, so it eliminates the use of having a individual stand. So you could be filming, when you get tired, just drop it down. The monitor. The gimbal itself. What a sick ass shot. Okay, so I'm gonna be using my 1DX Mark II, and since this gimbal is actually not rated for this camera because it's a lot taller, it's a top heavy camera, so I got these rod extensions. The rod originally ends here, and I got an extension basically to lower it so that the center of gravity works. This is what allows me to use the 1DX on the Ronin-M. Alright, then now we begin the balancing process. Let's go ahead and plug the HDMI in. It's falling backwards now, right? So I got to bring it forward. Bringing the camera position forward. Okay, right now. And then right now it is tilting to the right. So you would have to adjust the left and right. Bring it this way. You're gonna be going back and forth. It's kind of tedious. So it's still front heavy. It keeps wanting to dive forward. So what you want to do, bring it back slightly. Okay, now you want to check this again. So it's not going back and it's not going forward, so we're doing good. Sick. So now the only problem now is that it's going to the left. So we're gonna go back to this axis and bring it to the right. Little by little until it doesn't move anymore. Cool, so it's not moving this way and it's not moving that way. It's pretty good here. So we're gonna lock that axis in. It's pretty good, it's not moving anywhere. Solid.
My wife will love that. She loves moving.
Solid. And it's not tilting to the right and it's not tilting to the left. So if I were to leave it on its own without turning the gimbal on and it doesn't move, then we're good. It's only moving right now because of the wind. You want to pre-balance everything as best as you can so that the motors don't have to work so hard. Then the last one to check is this one back here. Of course, you can adjust this forward and backwards, and to check if that one's good, bring it to the side like that. Have this matching the grip, and then if you tilt it up and it doesn't fall anywhere, you're good. That means we're good. If it were to do that, come down or go back up, you just adjust this forward and backwards. See, it's relatively good. Now I'm gonna actually turn it on. Boom, there it is. Balanced perfectly, or as best as I could. All right, I'll show you guys how I balance the Ronin-S. It's pretty similar to what you would do with the Ronin-M. Slide the camera in, get your general balance. Doesn't have to be perfect. Go ahead and lock that. And then what you want to do now is you want to get this part that slides left and right. You want to get it as close as you can to this right here, the gimbal cover right here. Now I want to go up here. And right now, if I were to let go, it keeps wanting to drop down because it's very heavy. This knob right here, I'm gonna loosen it and I'm gonna bring it up to distribute the weight. If I let go, it's still wanting to fall down like that because there's too much weight right here. So what we're doing is we're bringing the weight up. That's pretty good. Now if I were to bring it up too high, now it's dropping down this way. You wanna pay attention to these values here and just get it right at the sweet spot. Very, very incremental. So that's pretty good. Go ahead and tighten this. When you bring it back, now it's wanting to drop forward. So that's where you go back to this plate and you want to bring it back because it is dropping forward. So it's heavier on this side. You want the weight to be back here. So go ahead and slide it back. Little by little, you gotta be patient. And that seems to be good. Second to last one you want to balance. It's falling to the left now because there's too much weight on the left. You want to loosen this part right here. Go ahead and bring it to the right. Looks pretty good. Final one to do is this one right here. I'm gonna hold it sideways and notice it keeps wanting to roll this way. So you loosen this part. The weight is too much on this side, so you wanna bring this back. Let's go ahead and let go and see. It's getting there. You want it to stay perfectly still. Now, if I bring it too far back, it's gonna start dropping this way, like that. So you don't want it going this way or this way. You want it to stay completely still like this. So keep adjusting this until it's not moving. Just like that. I'm not touching it and it's not tilting forward and it's not leaning back. So go ahead and tighten it here. So you know the camera's been balanced successfully when you place it anywhere and it stays. So we're good here. Let me move it. Let me aim the camera down a little bit. And it stays. It stays here, stays up here, and it stays down here. And then obviously, like I just showed you before, it stays like that. Okay, well, this. Let's turn on the gimbal. Notice, it's not even on yet, and it's doing its job. So now that it's actually gonna be on, voila. And good to go, look at that. Shut the up, plane. If you guys are wondering what my Ronin-M settings are, I'll go ahead and show you in the app. What I usually do is select a setting and increase it as much as I can. As I increase the value, I'll apply a little bit of pressure onto the camera, like so, and then you'll hear the gimbal start vibrating. Once you hear this, begin decreasing the value slowly, maybe by 5 value increments. As soon as it stops shaking, I'll write that setting in as I know that's the limit just before it starts struggling. I do this mainly because the 1DX is quite a heavy camera, so I want the stiffness as strong as possible. Also, you can just select the setting Auto Tune Stability, and in my opinion, I found that this way, the app stabilizes everything for you and is a lot easier than adding your own values. The same thing applies to the Ronin-S. So right now I'm going to do the basic push in. Alright, pull out. That's what she said. Alright, next we're gonna drop to the lower grip and we're gonna do a dolly left, dolly right. Same thing, bend your knees, ninja walk. We're gonna go left to right and then right to left. Damn, this shit looks sick. Just repeat it until you're happy with the shots. You're gonna get different variations, back and forth, nice and slow. We're gonna do parallax. You can come closer. A parallax is you rotate like this. You're just going 180 rotation while keeping the camera straight. Fake crane, basically just grab it down here and stand up while twisting your wrists and rotating the camera down. And then back down, twist your wrist up, boom. You can mix it up. You can go dolly at the same time, dolly right while going down. You can angle super crazy. Like you do the crane first, Then you do a parallax. You just mix it up. Woo! Now here are some quick tips. Whenever you do a certain camera movement, always do the reverse movement right after. Say you're editing and just in case you don't particularly like how smooth the shot came out, you now have a reverse version of what you just did, and chances are it's better than the first. Doing this saves you time and it doesn't require much work to do. Make this a habit. If you're using a zoom lens, the gimbal can lose balance when you change focal lengths. To prevent this, all you have to do is put the zoom of the lens to the middle while you're balancing the camera onto the gimbal. That way the gimbal won't freak out whenever you zoom in or zoom out. When shooting on a gimbal, make sure to turn off any stabilization within the camera itself. Sometimes shooting with in-body stabilizers or lens stabilizers built in the lens, it can fight with the gimbal sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time, but in my experience, it has messed up my shots. There's really nothing much else to say, there's not much to it. You just gotta keep practicing and eventually, in no time, you'll be really, really good. Okay, so what if you don't have a gimbal? You're gonna have to shoot handheld, and there are ways to make your handheld shots look pretty good. So before I was able to afford a gimbal, I would always shoot handheld, and what I found to help me a lot was the stance and posture. Just overall, the way you hold the camera is gonna help a lot. So what I would always do is I would go in a horse stance, tuck the elbows in, basically rotate like that, keep my arms locked and stable as possible. And you're just gonna do that. If you're gonna do like a dolly left to right, you can just go wide stance and go super steady. Keep your core tight, hold your breath. What you don't wanna do is you don't wanna be walking like this, because anytime you walk, you're gonna cause bounce. Get the angle, lock your elbows, hold your breath, and then move. Move your body, don't move your legs to walk. Going forward, you can honestly just tuck in like this and just and keep everything pretty stiff. So I have an image stabilized lens. That's gonna help stabilize your footage. If you have a camera body that also has in-body stabilization, it pairs well together, and then you're gonna get some pretty good, it's gonna fix a lot of your tiny micro jitters. You want to shoot at least 60 frames per second. There's an airport nearby?
Yeah.
120 frames would be even better, but minimum requirement if you want the best results, 60 frames per second so you can slow down your footage. If you're not happy with it, you can also go in post and add a warp stabilizer, and that can also help. You can get really creative when you're shooting handheld. For example, using the camera strap of your camera and putting it around your neck. You can use a tripod. You can even use a skateboard. So just get creative with your shots, and then you should be able to do handheld shooting, no problem. Fuck.